What's going on, guys? Today, I wanted to do another season preview for the upcoming 25-26 NHL season. And today, we're going to cover the Vegas Golden Knights. We're going to go out west. We've done 3 teams so far, all in the east. So I figured, why not go out to the west coast and see what's going on over there? Vegas is in a very interesting spot. First and foremost, I want to say this team should and likely will make the playoffs. They should be contending for top seed in the Pacific Division. I think they probably will win the top seed in the Pacific Division. I think Vegas is still a very solid team, despite their constant changing up of their roster and constant tinkering. I think this is still a very good team. I would say that their weak point right now is their defense, and that's unfortunate, mainly because of losing Pietrangelo. That's honestly going to be tough for them to manage, and I'm curious to see how they try to remedy that. But they still have a pretty good defense core. I mean, you're looking at Shea Theodore. This is according to Puckpedia. This is what I use for the depth charts and everything. They got Shea Theodore, Noah Hannafin, McNabb, Whitecloud, Lauzon, which I'm pretty sure he was from Boston. I don't know if he was there last season or not. I'm not sure on Lauzon, but and Korczak. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't know much about Korczak. I do my best to try to be as informed as possible about certain players. I know enough about Hannafin, Theodore, Whitecloud, and McNabb that it doesn't really matter who they have in their bottom pair. That's a good top 4. Like, those are solid defensemen. They should be fine. It hurts that they lost Pietrangelo. It definitely hurts that they lost Pietrangelo, and that, again, they probably are going to have to try to make some sort of a move to make that a little easier on the rest of the core. You're not going to be able to replace Pietrangelo. Like, there's not one player they're going to be able to get that'll change that, but, you got to do your best, right? But beyond that, I mean, forward group, this is, to me, say what you want about Marner, right? Say what you want about Marner. The guy's really good in the season. He's really good in the regular season. He's been a very effective point producer. He had a really good season last year. He had his best season last year. He got over 100 points. Obviously, playoffs, different story. But you got Marner with Eichel and Barbashev. I mean, oh my God, what a line that's going to be. That's going to be a line. Second line, you got Dorofeev, Carlson, Stone. Third line, Howden, Hurdle, Smith. And the fourth line is Sisson, Saad, and Kolasar. This to me is like, this is a good roster. And in net, you have Hill and Schmid. We'll get to that in a little bit. But that forward group is solid, man. That's a solid forward group. This should be a team that contends for the cup. It should be. Now, there's going to be a lot of questions around Marner. When I look at Marner, like, personally, I think he's got, it is just my opinion, I'm just speculating, and I think there were some personality issues within the Toronto locker room. I don't know if he was the cause. I don't know if there were other causes. I don't know. I'm just speculating. But it was never a playing thing. It was never his ability. His ability, like, you can't quite, the guy can get points. I think at times he definitely, his leadership maybe wasn't where it needed to be. But on this team, he doesn't really need to be a leader. You got Stone, you got Eichel, you got Carlson, you have Theodore on defense. Like, you have leaders. You have Smith, who was there obviously when they won the cup, and or was he on that team, or did he leave already? I think Smith was on that team. Regardless, you got veterans on this team. You have a good. This should be a good locker room, despite the carousel that it is at times. Who's here right now? Like, they got a good group of guys, just on a not even just playing level, which they do as well, but I think the good character, good leadership. And Marner does not have to be in that position. He just has to play hockey, which you look at this, and I think the easiest comparable is Phil Kessel 2015. when he gets traded to Pittsburgh from Toronto. And in Pittsburgh, he is given a completely different opportunity, a completely different role, new expectations. Just go play hockey, be yourself, have fun, and that's it, right? And that's all you have to do. And he did it, right? And he did it. And he went and won 2 Stanley Cups, back-to-back Stanley Cups. And man, Toronto fans are going to be really upset if Marner goes and does this here. But all indications, at least in my opinion, and I personally, I'm not crazy about Marner as a player. Like, I'm not. But I can't sit here and say that he does not have ability. Like, he's got exceptional ability, right? Despite my feelings, like, the guy can play hockey. He's a really good player. There's a reason he got that contract. He's a great scorer. And in this situation, similar, it's crazy that he's on a line with Eichel now too, because Eichel went through something very similar with Buffalo. Obviously, a little bit different in terms of the injury and everything, and that was a big reason why, the biggest reason why he left. But there were also a lot of people in Buffalo that were just not feeling Eichel anymore, which was crazy at the time because it's like, oh my God, Buffalo. But it was the same kind of feel, and then he goes and he wins a cup and he plays great, and he's been playing great ever since. And is Marner going to be? I mean, really, all eyes are on Marner, and I think this team, in a lot of ways, will, despite Marner not really being in that same sort of, not at least I don't think having that same pressure that he had in Toronto. It's a lot of it's going to run through him anyway, even though maybe there's not that same sort of expectation. Their offense is still going to be very dependent on Marner, his ability, and all that. But beyond Marner, I mean, again, this is a really good team. This is a really good team. They should, I think they won the Pacific Division. I don't know if they're maybe going to coast a little bit and try to just kind of, kind of pull a Florida, if you will. Just kind of coast into the playoffs, not really care too much, not really care about winning a division, maybe. But this is a really good team. Hill has that new contract. He's fine. Schmid is fine as a backup. I mean, they're all right in net. They got basically everything you need in terms of. I'm looking at what Puckpedia has in the press box. Not really seeing anything too interesting, at least in my humble opinion. But it really doesn't matter what they have in the pipeline here, because this is a team that's built for now. This is a team that this roster this is it. I mean, they might try to tinker with it a little bit. I don't know. I don't know. I know they're technically they're over the cap right now, but Pietrangelo is going to go on LTIR, so that should change. But they're still going to be they're not going to have that much to spend. I don't know if they're going to try to move anything, maybe. But they don't need, this is a team that I think with the addition of Marner, I don't see why they can't be in the mix. I think they should be able. I don't know. Look, we'll get to Edmonton at I don't know when exactly, but when I talk about Edmonton, I'm probably going to say that Edmonton shouldn't be. I don't think they're going to make it out of the West this year, and that's not a knock on Edmonton. It's just I don't know how many times McDavid and Draisaitl alone can carry that team to the final. So to me, this is a good opportunity for Vegas to strike again, because you look at the rest of the West, and I mean it's pretty wide open. Not much has changed. The landscape has not changed much. Vegas got the best free agent by far. They've kept a good amount of their roster together. They lose Pietrangelo, unfortunately, but again, I mean, this is a good team. This is a good team that really shouldn't have any issues getting into playoffs, and shouldn't have many issues going far in the playoffs. I don't know if and when they play Florida, because I don't see why. Florida to me is absolutely going for the three-peat, I think. If you get a Vegas Florida rematch, that would be fun. That would be fun. I don't know who would win it. I don't know. I don't know if this version of Vegas can beat Florida. I don't think anybody can beat Florida, but if I was going to pick a team from the West that would have the best chance to beat Florida, it would probably be Vegas. Probably. My second would maybe be Colorado. I know Colorado didn't get very far last year, but Colorado kind of feels like they're due to go on another run, with that group. And we'll get to them. But Vegas, I in the Pacific especially, I mean, I think this team wins the Pacific. I really do. So this would be the first team out of the West that I say that this team should absolutely be in the playoffs. I'm predicting them to be in the playoffs. I don't see any reason why I would be shocked if this team missed. Anything can happen. It's hockey, but I would be genuinely shocked if this team missed. Like, there's going to be teams that miss the playoffs this year. Obviously, not every team that made it last year will make it this year, but this should not be one of those teams. Like, there's no reason that this team should miss. And you look at the rest of the Pacific. I mean, like, who's going to be – who was there last year was obviously Edmonton, L.A. I'm trying to think who made the wild cards. It was, Minnesota and St. Louis? So you only had 3 Pacific teams that made it last year. And, who's really – is Vancouver going to be back on the rise? Is Vancouver going to get back in the mix? Even if Vancouver gets back in the mix, Vancouver's not beating this roster. I'm sorry, Vancouver's not beating these guys. Calgary might be back in the hunt again, but is Calgary beating them? No. Edmonton should not beat I'm sorry. As much as McDavid and Draisaitl have done in the last 2 years and their time in Edmonton in general, I don't think they can do it again. Another year to get through the entire Western Conference and to get through these guys, I don't see it personally. I mean, they've done it 2 years in a row. You can't count them out, but Vegas should be able to beat Edmonton. They should. And LA, I mean, LA looks like they made a lot of kind of weird moves this year. I don't know what LA is thinking, and the rest of the Pacific. I mean, you got San Jose, Anaheim. Okay, Anaheim's going to be the hunt. Anaheim's not beating this team. So in terms of like the Pacific Division, Vegas should just steamroll. Like, I don't see Vegas having any struggles really this time around with anybody in the Pacific. I don't, not even Edmonton. Personally, I mean, again, people will disagree. People say, well, look, they still have McDavid and Draisaitl, and that's fine. But personally, I don't think that anybody in the Pacific is better than Vegas. That roster, at least on paper, because sometimes it's like on paper you can look great, and then in actual, the way it actually plays out on the ice is completely different. I mean, maybe Marner doesn't work. If Marner doesn't work, this is completely different, right? Like, if Marner just does not click and something's off, and still I think this team should be fine, but Marner will be fine. Again, playoff Marner, I don't know. Playoff Marner, that your guess is as good as mine, but I think this is the team to beat in the Pacific Division for sure. Once you get out of the Pacific and you got to play whoever they end up meeting in the conference final. Man, we're going to the playoffs now, but then I mean, we'll see. But this team should really have a good year, in my humble opinion, at least. And I'm excited to see it. Vegas is a fun team to watch. They've been a fun team to watch for a while now, and the different iterations. I mean, their first, 2018 was crazy. That was probably one of my favorite times watching. Honestly, one of my favorite times watching hockey was watching that Vegas team go to the final. Unfortunately, they lose. I mean, it was cool to see Ovechkin win a cup. I think a lot of people were happy about that. See Ovi finally win one. I was, definitely, but it was unfortunate that I was at the hands of that Vegas team, because that Vegas team was that was awesome. Like, that was a crazy run. And then they had a little period there where they were kind of a little too cocky, a little too arrogant. And not a lot of people like that. And that was an interesting time, the bubble playoffs and all that. And But then once they beat Florida, I mean that was a cool, like, Vegas has been very interesting. Vegas has been interesting, fun to watch, competitive, and this year should be more of the same. Fun to watch, competitive, great offense, solid defense, good goaltending. They're going to be in the playoffs, they'll be in the mix, and we'll see what they can do once they get there. But that's it for now. I'd love to know what you guys have to think about Vegas and how they'll perform in the upcoming 25-26 season. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys again soon.